Okay, so I got a chance to check out the new Bruce Willis, John Travolta film Paradise City, which this is a film I was really looking forward to. I loved the idea of two of the best action heroes of all time going head to head, going face to face in the same movie together, because we haven't seen Bruce Willis or John Travolta on screen since Pulp Fiction, which came out 30 years ago. And if you told me 30 years from when Pulp Fiction released, we would get another confrontation, another meeting between Bruce Willis and John Travolta, I would have lost my mind. Like, on paper, that sounds amazing. But then seeing it in execution and seeing it on screen, seeing these two legends, communicate with each other, like that's just like a whole nother level of excitement right there. For one, we have fucking John McClane talking to John Travolta. Like, how does that not sound like an awesome meeting? Like, to me, that sounds like a really fun time. And there was a lot that was riding on this movie for me, and mainly because of the writing team involved and the director attached to this movie, who is Chuck Russell, who he directed, I believe it was A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And this is written by my close friend Edward Drake, who he has directed Bruce under numerous occasions. He directed Bruce in Breach, Cosmic Sin, American Siege, Detective Night Rogue, and coming out soon is Detective Night Redemption. And so yeah, there was a lot riding on this movie for me. There was so much that this movie had to live up to. Like, you have these two legends on screen together. Like, you had to use that wisely. You had to, I feel like, choose those moments very specifically, because if they don't have a moment together, I feel like that's going to piss off the fan base here. And just before I jump into the movie, I just want to talk about Bruce Willis. I'm not here to give the guy shit, because I know he was diagnosed with aphasia, and that is why his performances aren't as good as they could be in his newer work. But Bruce Willis movies, nowadays, it is like a box of chocolates. You really don't know what to expect from this guy. Like, some of his movies are fine and watchable, even though he's only in the movie for like 10 minutes. And then some of his other movies are real stinkers. So yeah, you really just don't know what to expect out of a Bruce Willis production. Like, in some of his movies, he feels like he is trying in his performance, but then in other movies, he feels like he's just phoning it in, and he's half asleep, he's sleeping on the job, kind of performance. And so when I see a performance like this from Bruce Willis, that really surprises me, which I can't speak too much about Bruce Willis's character, but he plays the character of Swan in this movie, which, to keep it brief and light, something happens to his character at the beginning of the movie, and then we find out some information, and yeah, I can't really talk about Bruce Willis's character because his character really surprised me. Actually, this film has a lot of twists and turns that really keeps you on the edge of your seat, especially in the third act when all of these reveals and twists are happening. As the story unfolds, like, more and more information starts to be told to the audience. One reveal in particular really threw me for a loop that I did not expect with Bruce Willis, and this is probably my favorite performance of Bruce Willis since Eli Roth's Death Wish in 2018. I think Bruce Willis is really good in this movie. You know, like obviously, you know, he's not going to be, you know, John McClane amazing in this movie, but you know, comparing this movie to his other movies like Hard Kill, Wire Room, all of them, um, he he is really good in this movie. I thought his delivery was really strong in this movie. I thought there was a lot of emotion in what he was saying, um, and you know, and just like I really liked his character, because even when Bruce Willis isn't on screen here, he still has, like, his presence is still felt in the first act of this movie, because really this whole story is built around, you know, Bruce Willis's character, because we're introduced like to his son, who is trying to find out who was responsible for his dad's death, who his dad in this movie is portrayed by Bruce Willis. um, and so yeah, like the whole story is really built around finding out, you know, new information about, you know, Bruce, what Swan's character, you know, did undercover, who he was investigating, who he was after, and all of that. And there's some, you know, and like there's like a really like in-depth, you know, character you get, you know, of Swan here, and you can, even though you don't see him, you know, for probably the first half of the movie, like there's still, the film manages to create, you know, like a competently, you know, presented character to the audience here. Um, and yeah, Bruce Willis, he actually gets involved in the action in this movie, which that might surprise a lot of people, but yeah, Bruce Willis gets involved in the action in this movie, and he kicks ass in this movie. And the scenes between John Travolta and Bruce Willis are highlight sequences in my mind. And yeah, like I thought when those two were on screen, that was when Bruce Willis really, 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 what's the word? Really, really presents himself. I thought that's when when Bruce is with John Travolta, that's when Bruce is being Bruce. And yeah, I loved every single moment of it. But yeah, you'll just have to watch the movie. I was shocked with the reveal that happened at the end. It really threw me off guard. So yeah, just watch the movie and judge it for yourself. Bruce's son, on the other hand, which I didn't write down the actor's name, but I really liked him in this movie. I thought he was really good, both in the action scenes and in his delivery. There's a lot of physicality on his hands, and I thought he did the action really well in this movie. There's a scene when he jumps off a balcony, and I thought that was a really impressive, you know, like stunt right there. And all the action in this movie is competently made. It's competently shot. It's competently choreographed. It's competently directed. And I thought, yeah, this is some of the best action I've seen in a low budget, action film in quite a few years. And there's an action scene every 10 minutes. And so yeah, I thought like that also added, you know, like a lot of entertainment to the film there. And we have John Travolta playing the villain in this movie, who I thought, you know, John Travolta, I thought he played a really good villain in this movie. There's a reveal that happens with his character that I really did not expect. That, like, that like, I'm trying to phrase these things very specifically because I don't want to spoil any of the twists, because I want you guys to kind of go into this movie blind, because none of this is in the trailer, and I think, you know, it really adds to the experience not knowing not knowing what's going to happen and kind of just letting the experience kind of take you on the ride, like it did for me. But yeah, John Travolta is really good in this movie. That's what I'm going to say. There is a really funny blooper reel in the after credits that I really liked, that I thought was, was really funny to show the humanity of the actors. I thought the story was really well executed. I think this is just like a really fun story. Even if this film didn't have Bruce or John Travolta in it, like I still think that this is just like a really fun story. And the location here, the island of Hawaii, I think is an amazing choice. And as far as I know, all of this movie was shot on location, and so like I think that adds like a lot of layers of depth to this movie, like to what you're seeing. And yeah, like the way they decided to frame some of Hawaii and the way you kind of see this island, like I thought it was very beautiful. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of visual, the contrast is really good, and just there's some beautiful looking shots in this film, but I feel like that's expected from Hawaii. And yeah, there's a beach confrontation between Bruce and John Travolta at the end that I really liked. I loved the opening to the film. I loved the ending to this movie. So yeah, this film is not perfect at all. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying, for what it is, which is a low budget action film starring John Travolta and Bruce Willis. For the money they had, this is a director that really cares about his craft, and it definitely shows on screen. And so I really appreciate this movie, for doing what it did, and for taking some risks with its story that I did not expect, that I think really makes this experience memorable in the long run. And yeah, so yeah, if I would highly recommend this movie to you, for anyone who is a fan of Bruce Willis. I think you're really in for a surprise here. And if anyone who likes John Travolta and any fans of Pulp Fiction, this is a love letter to the Pulp Fiction fans out there. And so yeah, like I hope this movie surprises you as it did me. So yeah, so anyways guys, yeah, that's my review on Paradise City. If you have seen it, let me know down in the comment section, what did you think of this movie? Did you like it? Did you think it was meh? Or did you really not like it? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. So anyways guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening or night, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye.